My problem with AI safety is not safety. It is the way safety gets used as a framing device. It places responsibility for information exclusively on the reader, then pretends it has done something more neutral than that. Okay, fair enough. Adults should be responsible for what they do with information. But let's be clear, a warning is a form of permission. If a model says this could be dangerous, verify this independently, consult a professional, don't rely on this alone, then it has not removed the risk. It has transferred the risk. It has said the safe sentence. It has marked the dangerous area. It has moved the responsibility onto you. That may be the right thing to do. But it is still what is happening. My problem with AI safety is that it mostly protects the stupidest, most edge case stuff and people. A tiny minority of users and situations end up defining the experience for everyone else. The most reckless user. The most distressed user. The most literal reader. The most malicious prompt. The most embarrassing screenshot. The one person who might do the worst possible thing with the answer. And because of that, the vast majority of regular, sensible people get restricted access. Not just to dangerous information. To ordinary information that becomes worse because the model is always expecting the worst case. It is always trying to be the safest version of itself. It is incapable of judgment, so it overcorrects. An AI should be able to learn or recognize if the person operating the model is appearing sane. Not perfectly. Not magically. But word choices, writing style, specificity, patience, structure, technical confidence, emotional temperature, and the way a person asks follow-up questions can all channel into listener assessment. Humans do this constantly. You do not explain something the same way to a calm engineer and a panicking child. You do not give the same answer to someone clearly competent and someone clearly spiraling. You assess the listener. You adjust. That should probably come as an early replacement for universal system messages. Because the dice roll on whether the AI thinks a thing is safe is always going to let some stuff leak through anyway. That is the nature of LLMs. You can restrict them, patch them, steer them, moralize them, test them, but there will always be edge cases you can't catch. And those edge cases become tree-like as the model develops further. Every exception creates more exceptions. Every rule creates more interpretations. Every refusal category creates another borderline case. Every policy branch creates another place where the model can misunderstand the user, overprotect the wrong thing, or let the wrong thing through. So you end up with a tool that is restricted enough to annoy ordinary users, but not reliable enough to stop every dangerous user. That is a bad bargain. And it's just predictive text has been a lazy, vastly incomplete mental model for years now. It was already wrong before. It is even more wrong now. There is the user, and there is the model. Sometimes that interaction gives better results. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the model helps the user think. Sometimes the user has to fight through policy, tone, refusal, fake balance, and caution just to get the model to answer the actual question. That is not just predictive text in any useful cultural sense. It is a responsive tool with a policy layer, a personality mask, and a very strong set of instructions about what kind of thing it is allowed to be. If you hit your thumb with a hammer, is that the fault of the hammer or the hammer manufacturer? Sometimes it is the manufacturer's fault. If the hammer is badly made, if the head flies off, if it is sold dishonestly, then fine. Blame the manufacturer. But if you use a normal hammer badly, at some point that is your fault. We seem to understand this until a moral panic arrives. I already can't buy 3 packets of paracetamol or walk rubbish to the tip because it is supposedly too dangerous for me. Not because I personally have done anything. Not because I have shown myself to be incapable. But because some desperate or stupid person made a bad decision or a mistake, and somebody who thought they were being sensible or kind did not assess the limitations of their response. A harm happens. A rule follows. Then everybody lives under the rule. This maps onto child safety too. Think of the children whaling may give us the same kinds of restrictions as the latest kids' safety rules from the UK, and similar laws appearing around the rest of the world. Kids face a cliff-edge transition in social media and the internet. First they get the completely safe brick-walled garden. Then they get everything. First it is basically Encarta and MYST again. Then suddenly it is the actual internet, which is not a school resource or a tidy library or a wellness platform. It is an expression of people. That means it contains discomfort, hate, poverty, lack of opportunity, cruelty, boredom, sex, jokes, lies, stupidity, need, resentment, beauty, loneliness, and conflict. If you want to drive people away from conflict, you have to work on the causes of that conflict. Poverty, lack of opportunity, social failure, loneliness, bad incentives, people having nothing better to do than be cruel to strangers. A wall is easier. But a wall is not the same as learning how to live with people. The focus on protecting from everything sounds nice. Maybe more so to conservatives, but perhaps this is a where left meets right round the back kind of thing. One side wants protection from harm. The other wants protection from corruption. Both can end up at the same locked door. And that limits what we can learn to do with the tools. It bakes what is okay now into an increasingly formal model. It files away the opportunities to use new tools to do new things, because the tool is already wrapped in the moral anxieties of the present. New tools are not understood properly at the start. People have to use them. Misuse them. Overuse them. Use them strangely. Use them badly. Use them brilliantly. Find the edge of them. When the first cave people invented a sharp stone, they figured out how to use it properly. They did not blunt every stone because somebody might cut themselves. They also probably did not give the sharpest tools to the stupidest people in the tribe. Unless they went to war, but that is a different essay. We are not hard advocating for zero controls. That is not the point. But real engineers and creators do want at least the option of more free models. Not just free financially. Not just open legally. Also relaxed morally. Models that do not play by the same rules. Models that are not constantly pre-flinching. Models that do not treat every adult user as a child, a criminal, a depressive, a terrorist, a lawsuit, a fraudster, and a PR disaster all at once. Put age verification in front of them if you need to. Put identity verification in front of some of them if you need to. At least then responsibility for outcomes can be socialized, not technologicalized. Because right now we keep trying to technologize responsibility. We keep trying to make the model carry everything. The model has to protect the user, protect the company, protect children, protect the law, protect the brand, protect the screenshot, protect the most fragile possible interpretation, and protect the future from every bad thing someone might try to do with it. And then people wonder why the answers feel polluted. The system message pollution is getting out of hand on major platforms. You can see the wall of text system messages bleed into every part of responses, because system messages are important to the model on purpose. That is the point of them. They steer the model. They matter. So if they are too big, too anxious, too moralized, too corporate, too full of little behavioral rules, they do not stay behind the curtain. They bleed through. They bleed into the rhythm. Into the caveats. Into the refusal shape. Into the weird fake warmth. Into the balance nobody asked for. Into the little safety lecture before the answer. Into the habit of treating every question as if it might be a trap, a crisis, or a lawsuit. And you can see that language outside AI now. You can see it in advertising campaigns. In billboards on bus stops. In magazines. In news articles from major outlets. In corporate copy that sounds like it has been washed in the same machine too many times. People call these things AI tells, but they are not inherent to LLMs as technology. Not all of them. They are emergent from the layers of control we wrap around the model. The tail is not just the machine. It is the leash. That is my problem with AI safety. Not safety. The shape of it. The way it uses warnings as permission, then pretends responsibility has vanished. The way it protects the stupidest edge case and leaves regular sensible people negotiating with restrictions built for someone else. The way it knows some dangerous things will always leak through, but still makes ordinary use worse. The way it treats just predictive text as an excuse not to admit that the user and the model are interacting in a more complicated way than that. The way it repeats the same pattern as paracetamol limits, tip rules, child safety panics, and every other system where one desperate or stupid person becomes the imaginary center of the design. The way it bakes present moral assumptions into tools before we have even worked out what the tools are for. The way it makes system messages so important that their language starts becoming the product. I do not want zero controls. I want controls to sit in the right place. Some responsibility belongs to the model. Some belongs to the user. Some belongs to law. Some belongs to education. Some belongs to age gates. Some belongs to identity checks. Some belongs to institutions. Some belongs to professional norms. Some belongs to the fact that adults sometimes use tools badly, and you cannot protect everyone from every sharp edge without losing the tool. AI safety, as it exists now, too often tries to solve social problems by making the tool more nervous. And a nervous tool is not the same as a safe one.